it's me, Clint Reno, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast. And as always, I'm joined by Babby. We have a fun and or exciting episode. I'll let you decide of the show. Last week I wasn't kidding about the Elvis thing. I'm going to do that. I'm going to watch all the Elvis movies because I think it would be fun. This is kind of a precursor, or maybe a spiritual sequel, rather, of me watching all the Planet of the Apes movies and all the Fast and Furious movies, where just once a year I like watching trash. And so that's what we're going to be doing here, except I may or may not have underestimated how many movies Elvis was in. It'll be a fun game. Guess how many Elvis movies there are to you, James? If you had to guess.
31.
Did you look it up?
No, is that it?
That's it. That's exactly it. That's crazy.
I have this thing where I can do that.
I can't believe you just guessed 31.
It's happened so many times.
It's exactly 31. Wow. Okay. There's 31. I thought there was like 19 or something. You know, I don't know. I didn't know he was in that many movies. It's 13 movies in between 1956 and 1969. So in 13 years, he made 31 movies. Don't ask me how that's possible. I don't know. It's crazy. He's a very hard worker, aka Colonel Parker just ran him through, essentially. But we're going to be starting this week with his first film, which I had actually heard of. It's Love Me Tender. This is his only movie in black and white. And it's also kind of interesting because it's a Western, just straight up. I should also, before we get started, plug the guy who gave me this idea, Our Ewan, a small YouTube channel, but he makes very, very good videos. Most recently, he made a video where he joined the army, the UK army. Or maybe, I thought he was Irish, but I guess he could be from Northern Ireland, because I think he joined the UK army not enough to actually, do it, but he wanted to get some information, so he joined it. But he also did a video where he watched all of the Elvis movies, and he also did a video where he watched all the Titanic movies. Both of those are very, very good videos. So if you want a full breakdown of the historical context and everything, I would recommend going over there. I won't be doing that, really. I'm mostly just going to be judging the movies on what they are. So I just wanted to get that out of the way and plug a very good creator that's on YouTube. So there you go. But let's just jump into Love Me Tender. Like I said, first movie that Elvis was in. I think Elvis, 1956, it's he's maybe in his, I think he might be 20 or 21. It's right as he's starting to blow up, because Elvis was a big fan of movies and seeing actors or singers turn actors like Frank Sinatra or Sammy Davis Jr. He thought, I want to do that too. So he asked his daddy, Colonel Parker, to get him a movie deal. And Colonel Parker found this. And this isn't necessarily surprising if you watch the movie, but it's basically a real movie that they just shoehorn Elvis in not very, it's not seamless. I'll just put it that way. Because this is just a typical Western, but then it just stops every once in a while for a full 3-minute musical number where Elvis just sings a song. And the weirdest part about that premise is that he's not even the lead. He's, I guess, comic relief, maybe? / kind of main antagonist. it's a weird movie. But basically, just a basic plot synopsis is that there are three Confederate soldiers, because it was a movie made in the 50s that yearned for the time of the Confederacy. It had been 100 years, but I guess they still weren't over it. Where these heroic Confederate soldiers steal some Union payroll. And you know they're heroic because they steal the payroll that was meant to be divvied out to the Union troops. And they even think about it. They're like, well, maybe we'll steal this for ourselves. Wouldn't it be nice? There's $6,000 here, which was like $5 billion in 1865 money. But they're like, nope, actually, we're good guys. And I think that the Confederate Army could use this money more than we can. So they decide to take it to the Confederate Army. But wouldn't you know it, the war ended. Whoops. And technically, the war ended a day before they stole the Union payroll. That's no longer an act of war. That's stealing from the federal government that you are now a part of. How are they going to get out of this jam? Well, they decide to divvy up the money between themselves and go home. I guess no one would think to look for them there at the place that they own. But surprise, surprise, they actually do think to go there. And that's where the shenanigans ensue. But also the whole Elvis part of it. Because those three guys that we're following are not, Elvis is not any of them. The three guys are all brothers and they go back home. And the main guy, who I will call Man, even though I don't think that is his name, I would assume. He is in love with Lady, and I think that is her name too. Actually, I think it's like Cindy or something. Oh, it's Kathy. Whatever, same thing. He's in love with her, and before he left to go join the war, he proposed and she accepted. And so he's like, I got a gal waiting for me back home. I can't wait to see my lovely lady. And then he gets home and he gives Kathy a big smooch on the lips, but Kathy is already married to Elvis, aka Clint Reno, which I think is very funny that is the name that they chose for him. Because I guess they got word that Man and his brothers died in war. And so she was like, she mourned, but eventually she got together with Elvis, aka Clint Reno. And so the plot essentially is there's this love triangle between Man, Lady, and Elvis, where Lady, she wants to go back to Man, which is crazy because, it's Elvis. And I want to be with Elvis right now. Well, I guess maybe not right now because he's a skeleton. Or an urn.
Or cremated.
Yeah, I don't know what his situation is. Maybe he was cryogenically frozen, like Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know what happened to the carcass of Elvis. That's for the real historians to know, but I don't. But yeah, she wants to date Man instead. And so Man decides, I'm going to leave because this is too weird. I don't want to be around you since you're with Elvis, who I think might be their brother. I think that's the fourth brother. I don't know why he didn't fight for the Confederacy. I guess so that they could have a love triangle between the three. So he decides to leave, but that's when the feds show up and ask for the money, and there's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And that's the crux of the conflict. That's most of the plot. But I guess let's talk about Elvis. That's the whole reason we're here. Elvis plays a doofy little dumb guy, but he has a bunch of charm, and he has the voice of an angel, which basically goes without saying because Elvis is a great singer. I actually think that his singing in this is actually really good. Like he has a really, really nice baritone in this movie. I don't necessarily associate him with being a great singer generally. Maybe I should also say before we do this deep dive, I don't really like Elvis. I guess I don't really mind him as a person, but as a musician, I don't really listen to Elvis at all, and I don't really like Elvis music. So maybe this was a bad choice, but this is just going with the theme of watching trash. So yeah, I'm doing that. Um, so Elvis, little dumb doofus who plays the guitar. But what's interesting, and I will put my history hat back on for this segment, is that Elvis does the dance, you know, the Elvis dance when he's doing his songs, and nobody acts like that's out of the ordinary. In a, you know, a very recently post Civil War South, like a day or two after the Civil War ends, and he's like gyrating and stuff. Um, I don't know if you know much about the South. I guess before, during, and after the Civil War, but they love lynching people. I think Elvis would have been lynched if he was doing his normal shenanigans. But everyone is actually pretty chill with it, I guess. It's a little weird. It feels very out of place when it's like this serious period Western, and then it's what Elvis doing his like hip thing. Like that it feels out of place, but I don't know if, they were really going for something super serious. This was mostly something to get 15-year-old girls to go to the theater multiple times so that they could see Elvis on the big screen. And I guess they were somewhat successful. I think this movie was a commercial success, which of course led to 30 other films being made. Um, but I think is that it? Do I want to spoil the end of Love Me Tender? I guess actually it is kind of interesting, the end of Love Me Tender, because basically these two evil guys that were on Man's Confederate squad get in Elvis's head that Man is going to steal Lady from him because she's an object or whatever. And he gets so mad that his possession is going to be taken by another man that he gets his gun and he's going to shoot Man. But when he eventually gets to Man to shoot him, he can't do it because he loves Man so much. Because Man is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Confederate hero, an Aryan hero that fought for the Confederacy, who is trying to outwit those darned Union troops. There's subtext there, but I don't really want to talk about it. I'll let you dig into it more, the viewer. But he can't shoot the man, and so I think the bad guys end up shooting Elvis, and he dies. Elvis dies at the end of his first movie, but just so that all the teenage girls that went to this movie explicitly to see Elvis, they don't get that illusion ruined. It's like, oh no, did Elvis really die in real life? Because this was the 50s. And it wasn't too long ago that they were scared that they were going to get hit by a train. So when when Elvis died, they didn't want that image to be ruined. So as Man and Lady walk together into the sunset, because Elvis just died, but they're basically like gonna bone. I I don't know. I guess Elvis wasn't very good at it. But there's like a ghost of Elvis. It's like a double exposure where there's there's the shot of them walking away, and then there's like just a shot of Elvis playing guitar and playing "Love Me Tender" as a ghost, and then it just fades to the end. So don't worry, everybody. Elvis is still alive. He wasn't actually killed on set. This
He's dead,
wasn't.
actually.
Well, he is dead now. I guess that is important to say, in case people haven't heard the news yet, that Elvis has since passed. But at the time, in 1956, Elvis was still alive. He wasn't dating a teenager yet. That was coming later. Don't worry. We'll briefly talk about it. And by briefly, I mean we'll probably talk about it a lot because from my understanding of his other movies, he turns down young girls repeatedly as a way to repair his image from actually dating a child. Maybe I should take back that thing I said about not actually minding Elvis as a person, because that is kind of messed up that he was dating a 14-year-old. Um,
All the rock stars was doing it.
I guess. I don't know. I guess I don't know much about like Chuck Berry or any other like actual rock and roll people from that
All
era.
the guys from the 80s were.
Well, yeah, the 80s I
Yeah.
know, or like Steve Tyler. I think that's the big one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld is a rock star in a lot of ways.
That's true. He is a rock star.
Evil Knievel
Mm-hmm.
is a rock star, and he kidnapped his first wife, who was an underage girl.
Oh, okay.
That's true. He kidnapped his first wife, who was a child at the time, and then married her after she was kidnapped. That's something they don't tell you. Yeah. Who else? Who else needs to get put on blast for dating children?
I'm sure there's a whole list.
Probably. I'm like going through rock stars in my head, and I'm like, I don't think Jimi Hendrix did. I would be shocked if Jimi Hendrix did, and
I
I
don't
had
think he
heard about
did.
it. Yeah. Bob Dylan, is he good? I feel like Bob Dylan's fine.
Think so?
I feel like I would have heard if Bob Dylan dated a
Yeah.
child.
I feel like it'd be more well known.
Yeah. So it's just Elvis, Jerry Seinfeld, and Evil Knievel, and Steve Tyler, of course. Those are the four that we need to watch out for. Well, I guess Elvis is dead. Is Evil Knievel dead?
Sounds like he should be dead.
Well, yeah. Yes, he died in 2007. So we don't have to watch out for Evil Knievel either. So it's just Steve Tyler, who's 98 years old, and Jerry Seinfeld, who is anti-woke. So I don't have to worry about him. So that's pretty much it for Love Me Tender. Join us next week when we watch Elvis's next film, which is, I just had his IMDb page up. Let me just get back to it. It's called Loving You. That's his next film, 1957. He plays a character named Deke Rivers. The names that they give Elvis are the best, and I'm going to reference them every week. So, yeah, join us next week. But also a part of this little marathon, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to like pair an Elvis movie with a real movie that is in a similar genre? And so I paired Love Me Tender with Red River, a classic 1948 Howard Hawks, John Wayne Western. I don't know if I hated this movie. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it is really bad, and I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely in the minority because Letterboxd has it at a 4.0. And that's very and like Howard Hawks is like a very well-respected director. Like he did like His Girl Friday and Rio Bravo, the original like Scarface, The Big Sleep, like a lot of like Humphrey Bogart noir stuff, westerns. He's done it all. Very well-respected guy. I just did not like this movie at all because nobody was likable in it the entire time. And I feel like I was supposed to think that John Wayne was likable. And maybe I should be better at like separating the art from the artist. But man, I hate John Wayne. Like, just in general, I think that he was a very, very bad person, and I don't really like that he was elevated to a pedestal where he was like celebrated. And this is coming from someone who was born and raised in Iowa, where John Wayne was also born and raised, and also not too far from where John Wayne was born. He's from Marion, which is not too far from where I grew up. Maybe,
Visited there dozens of times.
yeah, it's not that far. And that town, I think they have a statue of John Wayne uh, that's there, and they have a, I don't know if it's a dedicated John Wayne theater, but I know that they have a local theater in Marion that plays like John Wayne westerns every day. So it is like still a thing. At least in Iowa, where it is like John Wayne is still the most awesome guy. He's celebrated. Um, here's another fun fact about Marion. As a goof, some high school students put a bra on the John Wayne statue, and I think they were like expelled, or at least that's like what the urban legend is, where it's like just these three kids put a bra on a statue, and like they like got in really big trouble for like vandalism. It's like they just put a bra on a statue. You can just unclasp it. It's just because they ruined the image of the super macho masculine guy, and that's why they had to like throw the full extent of the law on these kids. It sucks. And maybe that's not John Wayne's fault, but John Wayne just in general was a terrible person. Like just look into it. Um, Bad guy, John Wayne. And I think that does kind of get in the way of me enjoying these old westerns, because I do enjoy a good western. Although I usually like spaghetti westerns or like modern westerns more than the traditional 1940s and 50s type westerns. But like I've seen Stagecoach, which is John Ford and John Wayne. Maybe John Wayne's like most famous, uh, or at least top five most famous John Wayne Western is Stagecoach. I didn't really like that one either. So I think I'm definitely in the minority here when it comes to old Westerns, but that's fine, I think. But this one, if if I didn't make it clear that the Love Me Tender writers treated women like objects, it's like that and worse in River. And also, um, again, I should disconnect myself, but it makes me really, really sad to watch Native Americans getting like massacred in these movies and having that be like a triumphant moment. It's like it's really depressing. And I don't know if that's my bad, but I don't know. It's hard to overlook. Like sometimes I'll watch movies from like the 50s and 60s and it'll just like have like blatant racism in it, or at least like really bad stereotypes, and I kind of have to be like, okay, it was the time. I'm not going to let this one bad detail ruin like the entire movie. I'm not going to like bring the score down 100% because of that. Um, but for some reason, like there's a lot of Native American killing in this movie, and it like it actually made me sad every single time it happened, and I can't really ignore that. Uh, and also they're really mean to women, and I don't get it at all. Because I think John Wayne is supposed to be like uh our like audience uh whatever audience avatar, at least in the beginning, where it's like he's this staunch individualist who's like gonna build up this ranch from nothing with his own bare hands. He's gonna pull himself up by his bootstraps and conquer the world by by stealing cows. It's weird. Okay, so let's just go into like the beginning of the movie. I won't go through everything detail by detail, but I think it's kind of important, at least in the beginning, because the beginning of the movie is he's in like this wagon train, a bunch of people going out west, and he decides, I don't want to like be here anymore. I don't want to like help anybody. I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna take my one cow with me, and I'm just gonna head out with this old guy. And the leader of the like wagon train says, "We need you. Like, you have two cows here that are like gonna help build the herd that we're going to like found our town with, and also you're like our best gunman. So if we get attacked, I need you here." And he says, "Sorry, Bucko, I'm too important than the group," and he decides to leave. But as he's leaving, this is lady number one. Lady number one comes up and says, "John Wayne, I want you so bad. Will you please let me come with you?" And he says, "No, woman, the wilderness is no place for a woman. You're not strong enough." And she's like, "Please take me with you. I love you so much, John Wayne." And John Wayne says, "I hate you, actually. But take this wedding band, and then maybe I'll see you later. I'll send you a letter, I swear." Um, it's basically like the 1960s equivalent of being like, "No, I'll definitely call you," after a sexual encounter that was not great. It's one of those. But he's leaving, and with the old man, and then they turn around briefly, and wouldn't you know it, rats, a bunch of Comanches have attacked the entire wagon train, and everybody died. Whoops. If only John Wayne was there to murder those heathens. That's what they call them. I'm not saying that. That's what they called them. If only John Wayne was there, he could have saved the day. But whoop, he was not. He was like, "I'm too important." And there's like no remorse or anything. Like, this is not a major moment in the movie. This is not a like revelation where he's like, "Oh shit, I should have stayed to protect the people that I care about, the people that I've ridden on this wagon train for at least like 3 or 4 months." Because I think they're like right above Texas, and it takes like a year to get from the east to the west and like these things, at least. So yeah, he's just an asshole. And he's like, "Oh, rats. I shouldn't have let all those people die, but I guess it's more important that my cows got out and I'm going to raise a ranch." But they go back briefly, and there's a Native American guy that's like dead in the water, and he's wearing the wedding band. And so it's just assumed, lady died. We can't show that because it's the Hays Code, and you can't show white people dying. You can show as many Native Americans dying as you want, but you can't show any white people dying. And so he just takes the wedding band, and then he finds a little guy. There's like a boy that's there, and he has a cow. And he's like, "I want to join you, John Wayne." And John Wayne says, "Okay, awesome. I'm going to brand your cow. It's my cow now." And the boy said, "But that's my cow." And he's like, "You have to earn it." I'm like, "What do you mean? That's his cow. He doesn't have to earn anything. That's his, you just stole it." And then you you like grandstanded and said, "Actually, you need to earn back your cow, dumb kid. It's my cow now, and I'm going to brand it with my initials and my logo because it's my cow." So immediately going into this movie, I'm like, this guy is the worst possible character that we could possibly follow. I hope he dies. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He lives. And he lives for a long time. Now, that's kind of where we're starting. You know, he has these cows, he's on this field. His wife died, or his booty call died, and he was not very shaken up about it. He conned a kid out of a cow, and then also, like right before the time jump, because it jumps 15 years, Right before the time jump, there's these guys that show up and they're like, hey, you're on this guy's land. And John Wayne says, well, let me talk to him because I want it. And I think I should just be able to live here because I said so. And the guy said, well, actually, no, we own the land. You can't just settle a ranch in our land. Like, I know it's just a field, but we own it. So you can't do that. So John Wayne murders him and then says to the other guy that was with him, you go tell your boss that he's going to have to talk to me if he wants his land back because I'm going to steal it. And so then he lets the one guy leave. And I thought that was going to be the movie. I'm like, okay, John Wayne and kid and old man are going to have to defend the land that they stole from the people that actually own it. And it's going to be a fun little action movie about a bunch of underdogs that are fighting. Honestly, we're following the bad guys in this situation. I don't know why they're like supposed to be the good guys. There's nothing about the opening of this movie that redeems any of these characters in any way. But they're the good guys. And I thought, okay, well, that'll at least be fun. There's going to be some fun cowboy action. Cowboy versus cowboy action. It's going to be a lot of fun. I like those types of movies. It'll be sick. And then it jumps 15 years. And like that conflict between the two guys, like that happened right before the time skip, is just brushed off in one line of dialogue. It was like, hey, remember those two guys that were like trying to give us trouble when we settled here? We dealt with them pretty easily, didn't we? And I'm like, that's not how you do that. That is literally telling and not showing. Like, if you're going to do a time jump, which I don't recommend, especially in this movie, because everything that happens after that is boring and dumb. But like, if you're going to do that, at least have like a montage during the time skip of them shooting all the cowboys and like winning the day and settling the farm. Like, do an actual thing, like using the visual medium that you are in. Like, do something cool and interesting with that instead of just stock footage of cows. And then John Wayne is 15 years older now. I don't know if I really need to say anything else. But the crux of the movie actually is just they're going to ride cattle. They're going to do a big cattle drive from Texas, where they are, to Missouri. And over the course of the cattle drive, John Wayne becomes more of an asshole. If that wasn't all, like, I didn't think it was possible, but I guess it is. And the weird thing is that it, like, over the course of the movie, it's like, man, John Wayne really turned into a tyrant. He's really working us to the bone. And I'm like, he's been an asshole the entire time. Why? Like, I get that, like, in the language of this movie, we're supposed to be like, oh, he's becoming a bad guy because he's making these people work for a long time. I don't know anything about actual, like, cowboy stuff. I'm assuming running a cattle drive is hard, and I have done something similar in the game Red Dead Redemption, but that was sheep, not cows. Actually, in Red Dead Redemption 1, is there cows? Do you have to wrangle cows in Red Dead 1?
I don't remember.
I think
Like, no.
You wrangle something. Because, like, the first 2 hours of that game is just like John is hurt, and then he's just like, help out this town. Like, hey, wrangle me some stuff and help me at the store. Because every Rockstar game takes forever to start the first act.
It really does.
I don't understand. It, like, absolutely kills any replayability. And I like that in all of their years of making, like, great games, when they made their most recent one that came out 6 years ago, they learned nothing. They're like, we're going to start our fun cowboy adventure on a snowy mountain where nothing happens.
Yeah, I just started that again, and it's like 3 hours of mountains and snow.
Because
Great job.
when I think of cowboys, I think mountains and snow and like not no cowboy action. I will say that like the actual like end of that chapter, I think that's not the train robbery, is it? I think the
I think
train
it is. I don't
is
know.
it?
I never finished it, so I'm like going back and playing it again.
Oh, it
I
might be
think it
the
is though.
yeah, because the train robbery is awesome. It,
Yeah.
it's just the beginning of it. It's just so slow. Sorry, Rockstar Games. I'm sure GTA 6 will absolutely remedy
Games are
this
great. They
problem.
just take a little bit.
Yeah, just makes it difficult to replay it because it's like, oh, I want to replay Red Dead 2. It's so much fun being a fun outlaw, like in Valentine. That's so much fun. And I was like, oh yeah, I have to do all this stuff, and that kind of, it's a big hump to get over. And even GTA 5 is kind of like that. It's like
Yeah.
let's watch Michael go to therapy because I've seen The Sopranos before, and that's what happens in that show. And so let's just do it in GTA. Sorry, Rockstar. I'm supposed to be upset at John Wayne, not Rockstar Games. I was getting ads for GTA 6 at the gas station. I don't. Sorry, this is a tangent. I don't know if you've noticed that there's like metaverse stuff at gas station pumps now. It's like almost exclusively
Um,
that. I don't know if you get
no,
that there. Okay.
no.
Okay. I don't know what it is with Minnesota gas pumps, but it's like Juicy Fruit has teamed up with Roblox to bring you an epic game that teaches you how to buy gum. It's like those types of ads. I don't know why. I don't know why they're advertising Roblox at gas stations to people who are assumedly over the age of 16, but go off, I guess. But those ads that are like the metaverse stuff, they're like GTA 6 is going to add a creator mode and they are going to make a metaverse in GTA 6. I'm like, I hope not, but I don't know. It was weird. But that's neither here nor there. I don't really remember what I was talking about when it came to the Red River film. Oh yeah, the cattle drive. That's what I was talking about because I don't know anything about cowboys. I assume it's hard work, and especially because I think they have like 900 cows. I don't know how you do that, and I guess they. I mean, they do. They lose a lot of cows, obviously. I mean, I assume you probably lose any like cows every time you do that because it seems inevitable. But I don't remember them losing cows in Brokeback Mountain. But I wasn't really focused on the cows in that movie.
That wasn't my main
That
focus.
was not my main focus. I was, yeah, I was looking at something else. But there's none of that in Red River. Maybe that would have made it better. Well, actually, no, because like the two main leads are the boy, but he's grown up, and John Wayne, and I would not like to see a romance between those two. I'll just say that since like the boy is kind of like the adopted son, I don't, I'm not interested. Maybe make them platonic. Maybe have John Wayne and the old guy get it on. I would like that. I would like to see John Wayne in a gay sex scene. Is that weird to say?
I think that's fair.
Okay. I'm glad someone agrees with me. I there should have been Brokeback Mountain that was made in 1962. A little bit past John Wayne's prime. This is like the era where he's like doing brown face and he's playing Genghis Khan, where he does a gay sex scene with a period appropriate Western star, maybe Clint Eastwood, or if you want someone who's a Weasley rat little guy, Lee Van Cleef, that would be nice, I think. But it doesn't really matter. That's just a fantasy of mine. Uh, yeah. Oh, okay. Whatever. Basically, it gets so bad because John Wayne's a raging asshole that little boy has to, I should call him whatever his name is and not little boy. Matthew Garth. That's the most basic cowboy name ever. I'm going to call him little boy, actually. I like that better. Little boy decides to do a coup d'etat and steal all the cows from John Wayne. And John Wayne says, "You can't steal my cows. Those are my cows. You're an evil guy. You're stealing my cows. I'm going to kill you." And so then the weird thing is that he says, "I'm going to kill you. You shouldn't let me live because I'm going to kill you. And every time you turn around, there's going to be a chance that I'm there behind you. And you're not going to know when I'm going to be there." Because John Wayne is known for stealth, I guess. I don't think of John Wayne as an especially stealthy guy, but I guess he is in the universe of this film. But if someone told me that they didn't have a gun, they were already injured, and I had a gun, and it was the Wild West, where there was no consequences for murder, I would probably kill the guy. If the guy was like actively threatening my life and doing the whole like, "You don't know when I'm gonna get you, so you're always gonna be looking over your shoulder," I would just murder him. That's the obvious thing to do. There's no consequences. Everyone on the cattle drive is going to cover for you because they all hate John Wayne. So just murder John Wayne, but you can't do that because he's a leading man. So can't do that. But they just decide to steal the cows and they get to the end. But along the way, they happen across a camp of people. I don't know what they're doing there. They're just like camping in the middle of a field. So of course they're like they're playing music really loud. They have a bunch of fires going. Of course they're going to be attacked. And they are attacked by Comanches. And we know that because there is a native guy in the cattle drive that the old guy is always like hurling slurs at, and it's supposed to be funny. And I guess it is kind of funny that it's like ironically funny. I'm like, I can't believe this was a joke. I guess that's why I was laughing at it. But his name is Quo, I think. Yeah, the Native American guy. Well, not actually. In real life, I don't know what his name was. Actually, there's one. Yeah, of course. On IMDb, his name is Chief Yaulachi. So he was a chief. That's pretty sick. And he was in a bunch of westerns. Okay, good for Chief Yaulachi. Although I can't imagine any of the other roles were like glorifying because in this one he is the butt of every single joke. But he is the Native American expert because, as we all know, every single Native American group is uniform and they all are the same. Doesn't matter if you're famously, every single Native American tribe and nation is exactly the same. Doesn't matter if you're in Montana, Texas, Pennsylvania, or Washington. They're all exactly the same. They all, hang out in teepees. They all have totem poles. They all put eagle feathers in their hair. It's a well-known fact that every single Native American person is exactly the same. And so Quo is an expert because he can look at an arrow and say that's a Comanche arrow. I guess that's why they keep him around so that they can show him arrows, and he's like, yep, Iroquois, got it. That's it. I guess. I don't know. I don't know why he's there. I guess he's there so that they can throw slurs at him, and then the white audience will clap and laugh, which is a sad thought, I think. But whatever. The camp gets attacked by a bunch of Comanches, and little boy jumps in, saves the day by shooting a bunch of Native American people. It made me sad. Again, just saying it. But whatever. Uh, and and little boy falls in love with Lady Two, and Lady Two actually she is different from Lady One because she falls in love with little boy instantly. And when Lady Two is like, "Hey, I want to join the cattle drive," then little boy's like, "Nope, not strong enough. Women can't ride." I don't understand. Why do you need to be strong? You're just riding a horse and corralling cattle. Do you have to be strong to do that? I guess maybe to lasso. Again, I know nothing about actual cowboy stuff, but I guess women aren't strong enough, so she can't go with him. But he gives her a little bracelet because it's called a parallel. Do you understand? It's very similar because again, very similar to the Native American thing. All women are exactly the same. They fall in love with any man instantly, even though the first time they meet, he's constantly insulting her and insinuates that she's a prostitute and therefore is a lower class of being. And that makes her upset for 5 seconds. And then they immediately smooch because, of course, they do. Um, I don't know. This movie's so dumb. But everyone else loves it. So I don't know. Whatever. They get to the end, and then John Wayne shows up. And he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, little boy." And then they fight for a little bit, and then Lady Two is like, "You two love each other. Stop fighting." And John Wayne says, "I think I'm gonna add your initial to my brand." And then the movie ends. That's Red River. Uh, don't watch it. It's dumb and boring. It's insulting to every single minority group that is featured. Luckily, and this is maybe the only time I'll ever say this, there's no black people. I don't want to hear John Wayne say the N word, although I could probably look it up on YouTube and there would be a 30-minute compilation of him saying it in real life. So I guess it's out there. But I'm just, you know, some sometimes I'm glad when I watch these old movies and it's all white people because I'm like, at least no one's going to be saying slurs or there's not going to be any jokes at the minority's expense on the sole basis of them being a minority. So there's a silver lining to not being inclusive, I guess. So that's Red River. It's a classic. It's an instant classic. I think everyone should watch it. John Wayne is my hero in a lot of ways. I do see myself as John Wayne. I'm a cool guy. I got luscious locks, piercing blue eyes, and I can shoot a can off of a fence post with my 6-piece revolver. So, yeah, that's kind of my review of Red River. And that's week 1 of Elvis Mania Marathon because this is an Elvis thing. I didn't expect to have that much to say about Red River. I thought I was just going to watch it and be like it was boring and dumb, but it made me very upset. So I had more to say. I don't know what I'm going to pair with Loving You because I don't know what type of movie Loving You is. I guess we'll see. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'm going to pass it on over to Babby for his segment of the show. Music!
Not as much this week as
Really?
usual, but that's okay. What do we got? What do we got? New single, the only single I listened to this week. New Black Country New Road. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
They've been so quirked up. We got Besties and we got Happy Birthday as singles. I'm enjoying the naming convention so far.
Yeah.
I like this one more than Besties, actually. I think it's pretty fantastic. They are getting so weird and funky and baroque, and I just love it. They feel very, I don't know. Some people still have criticisms because they're stuck in the 2022 era. grow up. That's my message to those people. This
That's
stuff
fair.
is so fun and it's so good. You don't need to be sad all the time. There's
Yeah.
like some melancholy to this, but like it's just a really, really, really fun art rock song. There's a lot of Joanna Newsom in their new stuff, which I'm really liking. You got
Hmm.
that baroqueness to that. The song structure of this is just really crazy. I don't know. It's like constantly switching and changing in tempos and all these different things, but it still feels cohesive and fresh. Um, and the instrumentals are just still fantastic. It has that Heartland UK sound of the windmill scene where it has these like just nice and warm instrumentals, but with the very art rock tinge to it. So very good. I really like the two singles so far. Definitely gravitate towards this one a little bit more than Besties. Um, but yeah, that's 2 out of the 11 tracks. I don't know if they're going to do any more singles since the album comes out in a month. But with Ants from Up There, we got 4 singles, I think, and that record only has 9 songs, I think. So there could definitely be another one on the way. But they also had a music video with this one that, which was pretty good. Some kind of like stop motion stuff, which is
Nice.
always welcome. So yeah, very good. In terms of news, Car Seat Headrest is back
Oh.
out of nowhere with a rock opera.
Oh, nice.
So the person that made Twin Fantasy is making a rock opera in 2025, and we'll see how that goes. I think they released the first single for it. I haven't listened to it. I'm gonna go in blind to this. I have not given Car Seat Headrest like the complete time of day yet.
Hmm.
We do have Twin Fantasy on the wheel, um, so we will get to that eventually. I think it's your wheel.
It's on my
Um,
wheel.
but I haven't heard Teens of Denial at all. So I am a big fan of Twin Fantasy. I think it's a phenomenal record. Very very Phil Elverum child kind of
Mm.
a birth of that kind of indie scene. So I'm still very into it, but I haven't like really dug into the catalog. But I am definitely interested in this thing. When I hear rock opera, it's a little weird, but if anybody can do it, Will Toledo can do it. Um,
Sure.
yeah, we'll see. I'm
There's a
sure it'll be quirked up.
19-minute track.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, we got 11-minute track, 11-minute track, 19-minute track all in a row. So
That's crazy.
that's good.
I
But
mean,
I mean,
I like that, but
he
that's a
does love
lot.
his long songs. I think Beach Life and Death being like 14 minutes and Famous Prophets being 16 are two of his best
Oh,
songs. So
yeah, I
um,
forgot about that.
yeah, but we'll do that album soon. We'll probably bring Bab Jeb along for that too,
Yeah.
since that is his album. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I think that was the biggest thing in terms of news. There's a lot of smaller stuff happening, but it's about to get crazy because I think end of March and April is kind of stacked up, and then early May is getting stacked as well. So there's a lot of new stuff coming, which is great. But I listened to one album this week, brand new one. This is the new Ichiko Aoba album, Luminescent Creatures. I just talked about her last album, or her 2020 album. I don't know if she has any in between. I think there's like some little EPs and stuff. But Windswept at Dawn was that one. I really enjoyed it. And this new album, which I got really lucky because it came out literally the week after I finished that album, is also fantastic. I think they're both great. Um, it's very difficult to talk about this music. I've listened to this album, I think, like 6 or 7 times now, and I still can't really describe any song or the differences between a lot of the songs,
Oh,
which you would think is a bad thing, but it just sounds fantastic. Like, oh, there's not like a huge stylistic difference that I can discern between this and the last album. Um, but I'm also like still very much getting into her catalog, so I don't know the nuances of any of her style. Um, all I know right now is sounds really pretty, but also somewhat challenging in a weird way because it is so chill and like spaced out that you kind of space out with the music. And then when I try to like think and look back about like what I just heard, I don't really remember. It's like having a really good meal, but you can't like discern why it was really good if you like really think back on it. Um, it's strange, but it's really phenomenal. Like there's a couple of tracks now that are kind of sticking out to me. Um, I think the opener is incredible, but also like Flag was one that stuck out immediately. And Pure Somnia is also amazing, and Sonar. Um, it's a really, really, really fantastic album. I love the balance of like straight ambient music with bringing guitar very loosely to kind of add some more texture and kind of perks your ears up as you're kind of just floating in this very peaceful soundscape of nature recordings and this underwater feel that she had on the last album as well. This one's in a nice 35 minutes too, so it's very replayable for me. I think Windswept at Dawn is like upwards of 50, so I don't like turn it on as much as this one. Um, there are some like bigger standout moments on that record too. This seems to kind of blend together a little bit more, which is cool. There's a lot of like smaller length songs that are like a minute, 2 minutes on here, which are pretty nice between the longer ones. But yeah, it's a really fantastic album. One of the best this year. I think I have it in my top three right now. Um, I am still trying to figure out what it sounds like, which is a weird thing to say about an album that I rate pretty highly this year. But it is one of those things where it's like the flow of water. It's very hard to pin down at any point, but it is endlessly pretty and gorgeous and serene. Um, it's one of those where it's like I could really do a deep listen, but I will probably end up falling asleep halfway through, and that will be a compliment of the thing, because it just sounds just so comforting and good. So definitely check it out. I didn't realize how like huge she is in terms of just like popularity in general. People go crazy for her.
Hmm.
At least the last two albums. Like she's pulling number one rank for 2020 and album of the year, and then this one is currently rated number one for this year. Um, which is odd for an album that is very much an ambient piece at the end of the day. Um, but I like to see it, and I'm really enjoying the music. So, uh,
Nice.
yeah, seems like her entire catalog is full of nothing but bangers. It's very rare to see an artist have an orange star on every single one of their records except for one. Um, that's that's pretty intense. That's like a Kendrick level discography that they got going on
That's
here.
true.
Um, so might step back and go to those eventually, but I feel like this is an artist where you got to take a lot of time with one because it is so hard to pin down the music that like it's all gonna blend together if I go rapid pace on this. But what I'm hearing is fantastic, so highly recommend. Definitely near the top this year for me, and I'm sure it'll continue to grow as I keep listening to it. So check it out. Headphones on this thing is probably a must. I will say that. There's a lot of quiet little details that are really popping out when you got the headphones in.
Hmm.
But yeah, phenomenal album. I thought it was. I didn't have to live up to hype at all because like I literally just found out that it was coming out like last week. So that's a good thing. I like that when albums kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah, that is good.
Um, yeah, but that's basically what I've been jamming. Been jamming that. The Massive Attack album we listened to that should be out on
That's
the
so
channel.
g dang good.
It's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Um, Driving to work with that, and I feel like I'm the coolest guy on earth.
Yes.
Um, so good. Still jamming that Nick Drake too. That album is also phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, and this By Storm song and this Backwash song are just also fantastic. So still eating good. The last two albums we've done on the channel have been like classics.
Yeah.
And we're getting some good singles and good albums coming up. So I think
Absolutely.
Lucy dropped a single this week too, but I'm holding on that because I think that comes out end of this month. So
Yes. Did she? Oh yeah.
because the
Best
March 28th.
guess.
Yes. So she's
Oh,
got three singles out. I'm
yeah.
sticking at two.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not going any farther than that. Um, which we don't
It's
even have a track list yet, I don't think. So,
nope. Well, we know there's 13 tracks. That's it.
okay. Gonna say, I wasn't sure how many songs. Um,
Yeah, on Spotify the whatever. The names are
oh, yeah.
hidden,
Yeah.
but see how
I
many
think
there
we
are.
did get we got a new spelling track this week as well, but I'm also holding on that
Mm.
since that comes out on March 28th as well. So,
Oh jeez.
actually, I think she has three singles out for this already. Uh, so, I'm gonna hold on the singles. I like going into an album where like I have as least bit of context as possible. I've definitely caught myself in the trap a couple of times where I listen to too many singles, and then when I'm
Mm.
listening for the first time, I just want to like get past the single and go to the next song, and I
Yeah.
don't want to feel like that.
No.
So,
That's why I
but
don't
I think
listen to
that's
singles.
yeah. Sometimes I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Usually I listen to the lead single of whatever it is, just so I have
Hmm.
like a little bit of a basis.
Yeah.
Um, but anything past that, it's like kind of risky situation.
Right.
But
It's
this is Black Country.
dependent.
I with Black Country, there's something where you have to soak up every single song individually, so I
Right.
feel like it doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Kind of a low key week, but I've been just
Wow.
kind of soaking up a lot of the greatness we've been intaking recently, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think slowing down and really appreciating those things is a little bit better than me talking about 4 albums every week. So
Yeah. There's a little bit of a lull here before things get a little
yeah,
too crazy.
which is good
Yeah.
because last year was nonstop.
Yes. Yes. And I feel bad because I feel like there's 2 or 3 albums that we listened to and I just haven't gone back to, even though I like them a lot because they got
Yeah,
buried.
it's gonna be a long retrospective this week.
Oh, it sure is. Yeah, I've been listening to the winning playlist, and
Yeah, we have Soccer Mommy in here.
the first album that we have is Bon Iver's "I,"
Wow.
which we listened to that on September 17th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do.
I've almost exclusively been listening to this playlist because I need to learn. I need to like re learn all this stuff. I haven't listened to some of these
Yeah,
songs in
another John
months.
Misty. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. See if I care. But speaking of me, I've been listening to some stuff, but I do have some news first, or a little bit of news. As of today, there's a new Runner single. Runner, my
three
favorite
ends.
guy. 3 N's and one love. That's what I always say.
Great.
His new song is called Spackle.
That's a good name.
It's a pretty good name. But I'm pumped because this thing sounds great. I listened to it once, and I'm never going to listen to it again until the album comes out, which we don't know when or if that's going to happen. But considering that this single released with Coinstar an untitled October song in the little single pack, I'm assuming that means that there's going to be an album sometime soon. But I looked at his social media today and he still hasn't announced anything. So I don't know. But there's 2 singles that have the same cover art. And Untitled October Song does not, but I don't know. I would be very happy if Untitled October Song is on the album because I think that is one of his best songs. And I was very I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but I'm like, oh, it's one of your best songs and it's going to be a Lucy single. That kind of is sad. But if it's on the album, I hope more people listen to it because it is great. And that's pretty much it. I listened to it once and I'm like, it's pretty good. And then I put it in the Disney vault, never to listen to it again.
Ever.
I've also been listening to Mezzanine and Nicholas Drake, but I've also been throwing on Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
That album is absolutely phenomenal. I don't remember what we said when we did that
don't either.
video. I know that we still get comments from people being like, young people will never understand what made Marvin Gaye so great.
Really liked it though.
We did. And I think even in the beginning of that video, I remember saying something along the lines of what's going on is a perfect record.
Yeah.
And I still stand on that. I think what's going on is great.
Gen Xers and above just like to say that they'll never understand despite us digging into their cultural milestones.
Yeah.
It's just an older generation thing, I think.
I guess. But I'm like, man, I love Marvin Gaye. I don't know what y'all are talking about. But man, every single track on Let's Get It On is perfect. It's only 8 songs and it's short. But man, it is compact and it is just really, really great. I think in a way that I wasn't able to completely appreciate when we did that video, because it is just a lot of grooving and not a lot of structure. It's just a lot of I don't know. I don't want to say improv because I don't think it's improv necessarily.
Pure jazz.
It's
Of
not.
the soul.
It's
Not jazz
yeah,
as a genre.
yeah.
Nice.
It's jazz spirit, the spirit of jazz. in like Motown music. So I don't know. I would say the whole album is worth a listen, but if you've not heard the whole song "Let's Get It On" like in headphones, holy crap, that song is like a masterpiece. I have no idea how he was able to make that song. And it's like a meme. I'm like,
Yeah,
why
I know.
why does this always happen? Like hide and seek and let's get it on. I'm like, these are two like
Fetty
perfect
Wap.
songs. Did you say Fetty Wap?
Yeah.
Does Fetty Wap have a masterpiece song?
He has a meme song.
Oh,
A
the
couple, actually, I think.
Fetty Wap, yeah. Did he do Black and Yellow? He did Black and Yellow.
No,
No, who did Black and
uh,
Yellow?
Black and Yellow.
I thought that
Frick,
was
Lil
Fetty
Wayne's on
Wap.
Black and Yellow. No,
Oh,
he's got
uh,
the 1738 and the other one. I don't
oh,
remember the
I'm
name
thinking
right
of
now.
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, it was Cliff.
Okay, yeah. Fetty Wap is a guy who has one eye.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I am aware of Fetty Wap. He's funny. I wouldn't call any of his songs a masterpiece though.
No, they're decent, but it was mostly a joke.
Okay, I was like in the conversation of masterpiece of like great musical geniuses. You got Emotion Heat, Marvin
Fetty
Gaye,
Wap.
and Fetty Wap.
The whole Trinity.
I think so.
I do have some potential breaking news.
Oh, potential.
Arm& Hammer has cleared their entire Instagram except for one cryptic photo.
That is potentially breaking news.
So, what to think of that, I don't know, but that is a thing in development.
Is that something? Are they like? Do they do that regularly, where they like clean out the entire thing?
Usually, when an artist clears their Instagram, that means like new music coming because
Yeah.
they're gonna post things that are all related to the new era. If you want to Taylor Swiftify it,
And I
but
will.
seems like my man Billiam sitting in a dark library, staring at the camera
Oh,
with his face blurred out. Of course,
oh,
he's a little shy.
he's a shy guy. It wasn't like the original album cover for "Hurry Up Tomorrow," where he's just in a
No,
library.
yeah, no, not quite.
Okay.
So I don't know if this Instagram is like Arm & Hammer, but it might be. I know Billy Woods kind of like just takes over those accounts as his own.
Sure.
So this could be a Billy Woods solo, which we haven't gotten since Maps, or it could be another Arm & Hammer project, which I feel like is less likely since Test Strips came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Pretty,
that came out. Was it
yeah,
2023?
2013 or 2023. Yeah, Maps also came out in 2023. So I guess it could be either one.
That's true.
But with him sitting there alone, it makes me feel like it's more of a solo thing, which I think he is due to drop. It's rare that he goes this long without a solo album. He's been pretty quick with the releases. So if that's a thing, then that is definitely something to watch for. So
Yeah,
you heard it here first, folks. Except
potentially
this'll be
breaking
posted in
news.
3 days, so there'll probably be more info about it by that point. But first reaction on the podcast.
Hooray! Potential news. Wouldn't it be funny if the album was announced tomorrow?
Yeah, they just surprise drops it tomorrow.
Well, I don't know if they would drop it, but they would at least be like, "Yo, it's coming."
Oh,
Do they do
yeah.
that? I guess I could see them.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how like you like surprise drops for. Not that he's a smaller artist. I feel like he's definitely got his own lane now. But I don't know if that's like as beneficial as like a Kendrick doing a surprise drop.
Oh yeah,
Although I'm sure people have done it.
probably. I don't
I'm trying
know.
to think of the last like non like huge artist that did a surprise drop.
Oh. Um. Well, I don't know if I can think of one
Yeah,
off the
I
top of
don't
my
know.
head. Oh yeah, the only one that comes to mind is Kendrick, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess if we go back far enough, Blonde. But I don't know if you want to count that.
Yeah, I suppose. I feel like he had enough pull though where everybody was like, "Oh my god!" Like it built up organic noise like so quickly.
For Blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I heard that the whatever the news of that, and I wasn't even paying attention to music when
Hmm.
that happened.
Yeah, I forget how big he is,
Yeah, he's a big guy.
despite not dropping music.
Yeah, Yeah, I think it was funny because I think like the last 2 years we've said like, yeah, this is probably the year it's gonna happen. I'm going to say that he's never, ever, ever going to drop an album again. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying
this
that
could
to
be an
jinx it.
Andre 3000 situation, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying that in like a, oh, I'm gonna do reverse psychology to make it happen. I just think it's not
Yeah.
going to happen now.
Yeah, I honestly don't have an opinion because, like, I know his brother died like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
Oh,
So people were like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get new music because
oh,
people are disgusting."
that's off.
Um,
Yeah,
but like a lot of artists don't even write that way. Like it takes a certain kind of artist to even like use that. So I
like a
don't
Phil
think that'll
Elverum.
even. Yeah,
Yeah,
Frank Ocean is not that, or a
no.
Sufjan.
Oh,
Like
true.
it's
Yeah.
a yeah twice. um, but even Carrie and Lowell took like years to write after that.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like we're gonna be waiting a while, if anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoy the little like blonde radio segments he has every once in a while because he does premiere kind of like more ambient tracks with that or just like radio talk sections, which I do really enjoy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The man gave us Blonde and Endless in a very tight turnaround. And I mean, Channel Orange is also great, but those two especially are like, you know, that's really like you've given me two pinnacle albums.
Yeah.
I can wait as long as you need me to, or forever. I don't know. You're already like cemented as like one of the best to do it. So
Yeah. I mean, in that way, I think he's kind of like D'Angelo, where it's like
yeah,
I don't know
exactly.
when or if D'Angelo is going to drop again, but he's given some of
Yeah,
the best albums ever, so it's fine if we have to
I
wait a
feel like
long
there was
time.
some rumblings a while ago,
For
but I
D'Angelo?
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I remember something about that. Maybe you talked about it.
or at least like he was like booking studio sessions or something.
Yeah, something.
Which I mean, Black Messiah came out in 2014. That was 14 out years after Voodoo. So
Right.
he might just like, oh, I feel like making music now. So, which
I
I don't know.
respect that.
I would like to him to revive D'Angelo and the Vanguard and just do another album. Like, feels good. But yeah, I think you'll really enjoy Black Messiah. That's on my you should hear this wheel.
Okay. I should re-listen to Voodoo.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see your updated thoughts because like that album is just ugh.
Yeah. Maybe that would be a fun if we do it for a podcast. I'll re-listen to Voodoo and you re-listen to Graceland.
Oh yeah, that would be fun
An album
actually.
that I didn't really like that I should have liked, and an album
Yep.
that you didn't like that you probably should have liked.
Yeah, that'd be a fun segment.
Yeah. Maybe coming soon. Coming
Hmm.
soon. That's a good idea. Um yeah. Is that I think that's it. That's all I
I think
have.
that's it. I have
Yeah.
nothing else.
Me neither. Bye.